Is this the right boat for you? Today we're on board a beautiful Catalina 400 Mark II. This yacht started going into production on the year 2000. Anything before that, it would be a standard Catalina 400. Some of the things that you're seeing on this boat are going to be innovations that eventually translated into the Catalina 425 or the 5 Series boats. Some examples are the dual helm stations, having compasses on both sides, the fiberglass structural grid that is now used on all 5 and now new 6 Series. That was initiated with this particular boat in mind. This boat is very comfortable. The navigation is easy. There's a lot of visibility. So for a couple to handle this boat, it would be perfectly fine. It would be very comfortable to do. So let me show you a little bit from my perspective. Some of the nice things about the Catalina 400 is the dual anchor roller. So you can have your main anchor and a spare anchor mounted and ready to go at any time. Roller furling head sail. You have a windlass and a very deep, large anchor locker. So you can put a divider in here to create 2 compartments so you can keep your anchor lines separate and unclutter. Another thing you're going to see here is the water tank inflow and the controls for the windlass. Another nice feature of this boat is the clear weather decks. As in all Catalinas, we have a Selden mast and boom with an in-mast roller furler for your mainsail. This is a double spreader standing rig system, and the boat comes equipped with a radar and a radar reflector. All of the shrouds on the boat are inboard. This boat also came with an additional track for your storm sails. If you have a small triangle storm sail for your head sail, put blocks on this track to control them. You have a hard boom bang, and all the lines are nicely organized. As we walk aft, you have the tracks for your head sail out of the way. So they're inboard as well and can be adjusted from the cockpit. You have the Garhauer Traveler for your mainsail with a dual line system. Large Bimini and Dodger. It gives you a lot of visibility from the inside. So looking from, let's call it the captain's perspective, somebody that's steering the boat, the pedestal is integrated into the hull. So you're going to have one piece. You can remove this top piece to get underneath to do additional work. You have your compass mounted here. Some things that change over time. Back in the early days, they would put the throttle shifter control right on the top. Now they're typically mounted down below to get them out of the way. But you know, back here is very comfortable to steer and shift and manage the boat. You have visibility to all your instruments. You have 3 indicators. That's probably wind speed and depth setting up on the forward section of the cockpit table, and you have a nice handrail to hang on where you're moving around the cockpit. Back here you have your chart plotter, your autopilot, and your engine controls and dials, so you can monitor the activity a little bit closer when you're trying to follow a course. You also have the guard mounted on this end of the cockpit table, which gives you a good place to hang on where you're moving around. There's cushions set up right on top of the stern area where you're going to steer, and it's very easy to shift over to the other side after you tack. In between the 2 benches, this is your pass through to the sugar scoop on the stern. So this model came with a drop-down ladder, which also acted as your gate, but you can find a cooler to put in here and put another cushion and make this a full-length bench, which would make it very comfortable. What you see here is a poodle catcher. It's just a board to keep things from washing overboard when you're sailing and if you take a wave. Something that was very curious about this design was the steps. On the 400, Catalina put the steps to help people get up and into the companionway to get into the cabin. And we'll take a look at that in a second. This particular boat has an electric winch. Has a Lumar 40 with your control. And you have a secondary cabin top winch. All your lines are led aft. And as you can see, you have a lot of visibility. In an emergency, or if you like to single hand, you have plenty of mechanical assist between your autopilot and your electric winches to manage this boat on your own when you're out sailing. As far as storage on the cockpit is concerned, you have two very large lockers with hanging bags for organizers on both sides. Down there you have your aft cabin air conditioner. So lots of storage in the cockpit area. One thing that Catalina did on this boat that later they improve on the 5 Series is the location of the aft stays. This is a dual aft stay boat, so you have one on each side. The only challenge is the location of it. Basically, when you ever sit on the back seat, you're gonna have one leg on each side of the stay, which, you know, it won't be uncomfortable, but if you have to move quickly or in a hurry, it can be a hindrance to have to get your legs around the aft stay. So Catalina moved in now to where they're on that corner, leaving the space in front of the seats on the aft railing open. So something to consider. This boat has the davit for your engine. It has Cato davits for your dinghy, and it has solar panels installed. This is one way to do this. In other boats, we've done it where we put it on top of the Bimini top. As we come down the companionway, you're going to have your galley to starboard, your salon dining table also to starboard, a nice, very large settee on the port side, nav station with a swinging chair, very nice. And you have your backup electronics and your electric panel in a very easily accessible spot. You also have large storage throughout the cabin. You know, you have different lockers, plenty of room for storage. The forward cabin on the 400 is very roomy. It has a lot of headroom. There's at least 6'5", 6'6" here. The forward cabin on the 440 has the air conditioner installed under the bed. There's a storage door. There's a bench seat. This is a way to climb up into the V-berth, which is actually a double. It's actually a pretty good size. You have fans, big hatch. Right now we have it covered because it's extremely hot outside. And you have storage along the border. In addition to that, you have another cedar locker right here in the stateroom. And you have a shelf, another port light. And you have a good size wet head, stainless steel sink, Corian countertop. The Catalina 400 comes with a U-shaped galley. This is by far one of my favorite designs for a galley, as it keeps you confined into an area when you're trying to cook, and it gives you places to brace yourself while you're cooking. You have a bar where you can strap onto, so you're not sliding in and out of the galley. A gimbal stove so you can cook even though the boat may be heeling. Large surface for cooking prep, and everything is guarded. You have a rail around the entire counter, so nothing is going to come off the counter and fall into the floor. When you're cooking, anything that's prep leftover material, you can scoop it into the sink, and from there move it into the garbage can where the camera is sitting right now on top of the garbage can. So that would be the place to go. So this is by far one of my favorite galley styles. The Catalina 400, this particular model came with a large queen bed centerline on the aft cabin. You have lots of storage throughout on both sides of the boat. You have two benches, one on each side of the boat, and you have this beautiful queen centerline bed in this cabin. There's plenty of room between the bed and the liner, and you have hatches for light ventilation or egression on both sides of the bed. So this is a wonderful design and a very comfortable one. This Catalina 400 also has a back hatch that's removable, so you can access the back side of the engine, transmission, stuffing boxes, etc. It also has drawers, so when you're not working on the engine, you have storage right here, additional storage. You have a double locker on the starboard side, single cedar line locker on the port side. You have additional deadlights for lighting, and you have a slider window with a mirror to enclose the cabin and give you additional privacy. This cabin has its own head, and it is a dry head. On this side, we have matching Korean countertops, stainless steel sink. You have a enclosed shower. With a bench. Very nice door. The heads on this boat are a little smallish, but it's still, I'm 6 foot tall and I fit here perfectly. You have ventilation and additional lighting throughout with the deadlights. As we come forward in the salon, the nav station has a swing chair. Down below here, they install the Victron charger, AC/DC electric panel, radio, sound system, and additional Raymarine head. You have lots of storage throughout. On this side, that table leaf drops down, and there's an additional cushion that you can put in here to turn this into a beautiful queen size double. So if you want to watch TV and just lay down, gives you the place to do it. The 400 has lots of hatches, as you can see, to provide light and ventilation, in addition to deadlights on the galley and forward, and two port lights that can be open for ventilation on both sides. So let's talk a little bit by the numbers. So the Catalina 400 comes equipped with 107 gallons of water capacity, which for a single person, using our ratios that we've been using on prior videos, that gives you about 31 days at sea. If it's a couple that lives on this boat, you have about 15 days of water usage on the boat. Fuel comes in at 44 gallons, which is going to give you a range of about 350 miles, running at about 6 knots. Capacity for the holding tank is about 34 gallons, which is going to give you about 17 days capacity for a single person, or 8.5 days for 2 people. Now, if you're cruising offshore, you know that after you go 3 miles out, you can open the valves and just have the waves go outside into the water. Refrigerator capacity on this boat is 5.5 cubic feet, which gives you, well organized and well packed, about 22 days of food for a single person, or 11 days of food for 2 people. It has a lot of storage for dry goods. If you want to have a pantry, that big locker I showed you on the back side of the galley, that would be an ideal place to store dry food that would extend your sailing time. As far as propane, this boat uses a 10-pound propane tank which should be able to give you probably around 2 weeks of cooking if you cook for about an hour a day. The sail area to displacement ratio comes in at 1770.79, which makes it a very nice performance boat. It's going to be lively, it's going to sail well. The comfort ratio on this boat is 25.05, which puts it right in the middle of the coastal cruising category. So it would be a great boat for, Florida, Caribbean, Bahamas. That type of cruising would be ideal for this type of boat. The capsize screening formula comes in at exactly 2.0, which is kind of the range for ocean cruising. It's 2.0 or less. So it's going to be stable boat at sea, and you may be able to handle longer range cruises on this particular boat. So with that, folks, that gives you some ideas of things to consider whether this is the right boat for you. As I look at this boat, I think a couple living on this boat would make it a great liveaboard. The cruising would be comfortable, the boat would be manageable between two people, and it would make it for a great experience. With that, we conclude our session on whether this is a good boat for you. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section below. Please subscribe to our channel, as we're sharing all these videos to help you get educated on different types of boats and what to look for when you're looking for a boat. So with that, folks, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.